to offer you this lesson from Unity of the Keys Spiritual Center.
These beings were created. That's you, the light of the world. The Vedic Upanishads say that one day God had a thought. Let me, God, become many. And out of the one became the many. E pluribus unum. That is our United States of America mantra emblazoned on the Great Seal of the USA. Out of the one, many. And that was understood by our founders thousands of years before that teaching came into being. So our founders were basing this great nation on not the God of Jesus, not the God of the Buddhist or the Mohammedan, because they didn't exist when this teaching was originated. It is a teaching probably that predates the written word, that was passed down in the oral tradition thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. This idea that first there was this divine throb, this great pulsation, this stirring life in the void, and that this shimmering light within a tiny seed gave birth to the multitudes of luminous beings. According to Kirlian photographs, the light that shines from your body can be minuscule or bigger than a house. I mean, it can't even be contained. I had a friend that wasn't a believer in anything outside the physical. He was a biologist, but he needed money when he was in graduate school. So he took Kirlian photographs for a science project that somebody else was doing, and he got paid for it. So, he would do just about anything at that time as a poor graduate student. And he noticed that a flower had light, and then as it died, it had less light. And then when it was dead, it had no light. And he started to wonder about the light. And then he started taking pictures of people, and some people had just a tiny little aura. It's just like this. And some people had an aura, that was just huge. And then this monk showed up, and he could not contain the light. He opened his lens as big as a house, and the light couldn't be contained. And that, he told me, was when he began his spiritual path. Light. Luminosity. It's seen and felt. It dances in the bloodstream of all people. But it is enthusiastically felt around the great saints, the sages, and the uplifting leaders of the world. I have seen it and felt it with my meditation master, the late great Bhante Dharmawara, who was born in 1888 and who was the model for Yoda. The force was truly with him. I was 28 when my teacher Bhante was 103, and I could not match his stamina. He would wake up so enthusiastic and full of joy. At 5 a.m. in the morning, he would say, "Good morning! What a wonderful day! Another day to heal and live." Every day, he would wake up with an uplifting affirmation. And one day, while visiting Unity of the Palm Beaches, Bhante had been teaching and doing healing work from sunrise until midnight. I was really tired, but I heard him stirring, and I wanted to make sure he was okay, and so I peeked into his room. And I saw him sitting up in bed at midnight, balancing his checkbook. Then he put that down and he picked up a music box that someone had given him with an angel on top, and he turned it and he put it on the dresser, and it sang as the angels spinned, "Angels we have heard on high." And he started to laugh. He was so amused by the spinning angel, and in 1 minute, he was asleep snoring. Now that's something to aspire to live each moment so fully alive that you fall asleep laughing. Where does this kind of inspiration come from? The answer is contained in the word enthusiasm itself. The word enthusiasm comes from the Greek enthusiasmos. And the root word en means within. It also can mean possessed by the Spirit, possessed by something intangible that is not outside us. The word theos means spirit, creator, the highest vibration we can think of. So enthusiasm means that you're in the Spirit, that you're possessed by the highest vibration. When you are enthusiastic, you have great power, and you're full of grace. When you're enthusiastic, you're free from worry, you're aligned, coherent, integrated. What could there be to worry about? God is love, love is in me, I am love, and love is here, right here. Peace is here, right here, and all is well. You feel it in every cell and atom of your being. It's not something you can fake. Bhante would always close his meditations with this affirmation: every day in every way I am getting happier and healthier. Say that with me. Every day in every way I am getting happier and healthier. I had a lot of resistance to spiritual teachers. Bhante was my friend. I never became a Buddhist. I took care of him for the last 10 years of his life like he was my grandfather. And people were very curious about it. Like, why is she doing that? It wasn't even allowed in his very traditional Cambodian Buddhist sect for women to touch men. So who was this young woman traveling around with our teacher? And people were just shocked by it. I wasn't actually allowed to go to some places with him because women weren't allowed. But I knew I was meant to do this. I was resistant, however, to my teacher, Mataji, who probably is my guru in the traditional sense, but I never would claim her as that. And when I met her, she told me, guru just means teacher. Your parents were your first gurus. Guru's nothing mystical, And at the same time, Mataji's teaching came to me in dreams, premonitions. Sometimes she knew things I never said. So for me, I honor Mataji for teaching me spiritually so many things, even though I didn't want her to. Even in my dreams, you're not my guru, I would say to her in the dreams. But I would go to her when I was the most confused, conflicted, and exhausted. When I could find no other way to resolve my conflicts. Sometimes I would have so many questions about life, I would write them down. I would make a list. Then I would arrive at the yoga center, and I would meditate and chant. And I would do this practice called arati. It's kind of like yogic Tai Chi. You hold on a silver platter flowers, water, and you chant as you do this. For 15 minutes, you're doing this Tai Chi mudra. And you're singing and chanting the qualities of God to these deities who depict valor, love, compassion, peace, whose ancient stories bring the best of humanity out in us. So I would meditate, I would chant, I would do arati, and then I would sit at the feet of my teacher. And I couldn't think of a single question that I had. I couldn't think of a single problem. I couldn't think of anything that disturbed me. The practices, the cultivation of the energy in a place where there are practices, and the teachers themselves contain so much enthusiasm that it can actually boost our spiritual awakening. The fog just lifted in the energy that had been cultivated at that yoga center through the practices that we shared every single day. This arati happened every morning, every evening for 30 years since the ashram was conceived. And I can't deny that the presence of a great being enhances our awakening, because both of them, as well as many other teachers in my life, have taught me when I am lifted up, all will be lifted onto me. I remember shaking Mother Teresa's hand and the Shakti that came from her. I remember it with Virginia Satir, the great child and family therapist who originated the whole systems theory. Virginia Satir, even though she might have not been considered a spiritual teacher, always meditated before she did anything and got a room full of thousands of people in residence. She could heal an entire room through one family on stage. That's enthusiasm. When someone is so full of exuberance and vigor, you want to be around them. If you had a choice between two conversations, one that was depressing, argumentative, and mean, or one that was filled with laughter, energy, and goodwill, where would you go? We have an inherent impulse to move towards a place or a person that's sparkling with enthusiasm and positive energy. To be filled with enthusiasm means to give your life completely to your highest vision, to the greatest virtues you can conceive of, to really let go and let this energy steer the wheel of your life. Right now, in this moment, you can allow yourself to experience the ocean of enthusiasm. You can feel the pulsation of your own heart. You don't have to wait for circumstances to be impeccable and perfect. You simply make a decision. I'm gonna let the highest and the most vital energy pour through me. I'm gonna make space in my life, in my heart, in my soul, for this energy of love to flow through me, through my voice, through my actions, through my language, through my work, out into the world. I'm going to walk through this day seeing the good, speaking inspiring and uplifting things, and adding to the wonder and the grandeur and the majesty of this life on earth. Swami Muktananda said this. He was a contemporary sage who lived in this time period. This is why we live, to experience supreme bliss, the highest enthusiasm and the highest ecstasy. A human life is mysterious. It's significant to be a human. It's ideal. In this human body, in this human life, we can see the Creator within. We can meet the Spirit of God. We can communicate with the Spirit of God, and we can become the Spirit of God. Enthusiasm is what he's describing. It can make you soar. It can make you realize a goal. It can open doors and touch people you've never met. Lack of enthusiasm, separation from your highest vision, from the God of your understanding, causes incredible restlessness and discomfort. The state of consciousness devoid of enthusiasm is depicted in the central story of the epic Ramayana. Again, another Indian teaching. But hear this now, because it's an excellent teaching for the time period in which we live. Queen Sita, God's beloved, representing, our love, our juice, has been kidnapped by a demon. So get the metaphysics of that, right? King Rama, which represents God, is bereft. King Rama searches everywhere for his beloved wife and is losing hope that he will ever find her, that will ever wake up, that will ever feel this connection. His friend instructs them, so listen carefully. You must maintain the auspicious state of your true nature, Rama. Enthusiasm is the greatest power. For a person endowed with enthusiasm, nothing in this world is impossible to achieve. A lost object is not retrieved except by effort. We shall regain our Queen Sita by enthusiastic action. Give up this sorrow born of affection, which has veiled your own supreme glory. Isn't that a great teaching? It's profound about the importance of constant vigilance regarding our own thoughts, emotions, and intentions. There's so much to be sad about. There's so much going on to make us feel defeated and overwhelmed. And that is a habitual tendency of the mind. Anger and disdain are promoted on our media and in our conversations. We depress ourselves. We suppress our feelings. We oppress ourselves doing that. And then we bemoan the plight of our nation. So it may seem like a difficult task to maintain enthusiasm and sing God's glory. So let's cancel that thought. Maintaining enthusiasm is the greatest endeavor on this planet at this time. It can be done. We got this. Every time you extend kindness, you sing God's glory. When you see beyond the physical and you look into someone's heart and find the good in somebody that previously you saw no good in, that's singing God's glory. Every time you do what is your sole purpose, that is singing God's glory. Every time you take time to understand someone else, to love a child, to take care of a lost pet, to pick up the trash off the earth mother, you're living enthusiasm and singing God's glory. The spiritual disciple and brother of Jesus, his name was James, said this: whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its full effect so that you may grow up and mature and be complete, lacking in no thing. So, we welcome the wind, and we welcome the rain, and we welcome the sunrise, and we welcome the sunset, and we welcome the good, and we welcome the bad, and we welcome the tiniest creature and the biggest danger with great love and awareness, and receive enthusiastic blessings, because in that consciousness, we're filled with what is our true nature, and we can sing God's glory. Thank you. Welcome.